The concept of immunity dates back at least to the 5th century BC, when the first records about recovery from the plague appeared in Greece. Those individuals survived the disease became immune to it. To be immune means to be protected, so it makes sense that the body system that helps fight off sickness is called the immune system. The immune system is made up of a network of cells, tissues, and organs that work together to protect the body. Leukocytes, or white blood cells, are part of this defense system. There are two basic types of these germ-fighting cells: phagocytes, which chew up invading germs, and lymphocytes, which allows the body to remember and to recognize previous invaders. Leukocytes are found in many places of our body. They help fighting infections. So, we have the great system in place. But is it enough to keep us from getting sick? Everyone gets sick sometimes, but your immune system helps you get well again. And if you have had necessary vaccines, your body is extra prepared to fight off serious illnesses that your immune system alone might not handle very well. In the 10th century, smallpox was endemic in China. At that period of time, the earliest documentation of some sort of vaccination was found. The process was called variolation. It involved the exposure of healthy people to inserting powdered scabs from smallpox into the nose. The same procedure was known in the Ottoman Empire, where it had been introduced by traders around 1670. However, this sort of vaccination was not widely accepted due to occasional deaths of the patients. The process of variolation received its popularity in England when Lady Mary Wortley Montagu survived smallpox, losing her brother to it. She was married to Lord Edward Wortley Montagu, the ambassador to the Sublime Porte of the Ottomans in Istanbul. Living in that city, Lady Montagu observed the practice of variolation there. In 1718, Lady Montagu invited the surgeon to the embassy for the variolation of her 5-year-old son to help her family avoid the sufferings of the disease she had gone through. After her return to England, she started promoting the variolation procedure. She asked her surgeon to expose her 4-year-old daughter to variolation and the presence of the king's physician. This event became a start point for the royal experiment. Charles Maitland variolated 6 condemned prisoners who survived after this procedure. Thanks to this experiment and other experiments, the procedure became safe, and in 1722, 2 of King's grandchildren were variolated. After this, the practice of inducing smallpox materials to healthy people spread rapidly throughout England and then to the American colonies. In 1796, Edward Jenner inoculated the experimental participants with a material obtained from a cowpox lesion without producing disease. A safe vaccine for smallpox was developed. Further studies performed by Jenner established the efficacy of his vaccination procedure. In the 19th century, Robert Koch and Louis Pasteur began their studies of finding vaccines against tuberculosis. Their efforts formally established the germ theory of disease. In this way, they created the biological basis for both the cause of disease and the efficacy of vaccination. The era of immunology began. Ilya Mechnikov was the first scientist who recognized the contribution of phagocytes to the generation of immunity. Paul Ehrlich predicted the existence of immune bodies, antibodies, and side chains from which they arise, immune receptors. The invaders, or antigens, trigger an immune response which is a production of proteins that help fighting of the antigens. These proteins are called antibodies. In order to work properly, the immune system must know which cells are good ones and which are bad ones. Antibodies are designed with specific binding sites that only bind with particular antigens. They ignore good cells and only attack the bad ones. The historical development of immunology shows how our immune system has the capacity to respond to myriads of environmental challenges, serving as a protection of our body from the intrusion of viruses and bacteria. If you want to know more about immunity and how to protect your immune system from stress, get my book, Stress and Immunity.